a resistor here on a breadboard, and the thing to know about the breadboards is that the 5 connection points here are connected back behind the plastic here, and these 5 are also connected, but there's no connection across this valley here. I have a 1.5 kilo ohm resistor in here, and the colors on this are brown, green, and red. If you look at this chart over here, it tells us that the brown corresponds to 1, the green corresponds to 5, and the red corresponds to 2. So then if you use that, you can figure out that indeed this is a 1.5 kilo ohm resistor. There's the 1 for the brown, the 5 for the green, and the 2, that's 10 to the second power. That's for the red right there. That corresponds to 1.5 kilo ohm. To verify that, we can use a multimeter. So here we have the multimeter. We're going to put that in resistance measurement mode. It says OF right now for overflow, but then when I connect it across the resistor right here, I should expect to see 1.5 or about kilo ohms right there. The next thing we're going to do is to build a circuit with that, and the circuit we're going to build is this one right here. Alright, so I'm going to take the multimeter off of this, and I'm going to switch the mode of this so that I can measure voltage this time. And the reason that is because over here on the circuit it says I need to be measuring a voltage, and I need to supply power with a DC power supply and measure current. So there's my resistor. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to apply a voltage across this resistor right here. The power supply I have is right here, and what we want to do is make sure that it's on the A output right here, and that I'm using the A output terminals right here. And I'm going to have the current setting right here set to straight up and down, and this is going to be my voltage adjustment that I might make throughout my experiment. Also, this switch over here, switch it all the way to the right to independent. Alright, so getting back to the circuit here, I'm going to apply the voltage across the resistor. So I'm going to put the ground on the bottom, the black terminal on the bottom, and the red on the top like that. So now I've applied a voltage. Maybe if I put it over to this side, it'll look more like my diagram. Alright, so there's my power supply and resistor. Now what I want to do is I want to measure the voltage like it indicates on the diagram here. So I'm going to set this in the voltage setting, and now I've turned this multimeter from something that measures resistance to something that measures voltage. So if I clamp that on there across the resistor, voltage is always measured across, you can see I have it dialed in to about 10 volts. So I can just kind of fine tune that, see if I can get it closer to 10. I'm going to get as close as you can there. That's probably close enough for what we want to do. So I'm applying 10 volts across from the power supply, and I'm measuring 10 volts with my multimeter. The last thing I'm going to do here is measure the current. That's the A symbol that we see right here. In order to do that, I have to break the circuit. So I have to put a break in there between the power supply and the resistor. So if I follow my leads from the power supply, I see that I need to make the break right here. Okay, and what I need to insert is an ammeter in there. The thing about these multimeters is that they can also act as an ammeter, so I have another one I'm going to put over on this side, and I'm going to set it on the milliamp settings right there. And I have the terminals, this time I'm using green and yellow, and I'm going to put that in there where I had made that break. So I pulled the wire off like that, and I'm going to insert the ammeter into the circuit. So I'm going to put the yellow over here where the red is, like that, and the green where the red was. So I've broken the circuit, I've inserted an ammeter there. And if I look at the reading over here, I see that I have about 6.76 milliamps. If I look at Ohm's law, I can see that what I should expect is that if I solve for the current, I should get 10 volts that I supplied divided by the 15 times 10 to the second ohms. I should get 6.67 milliamps. So that's basically how you get these experiments set up. Again, you can change out the resistors for the different parts of the experiment and then change the voltage over here. All right, good luck.